Mike Matheny of Kansas City. Always a pleasure. A conversation, Mike, on Manager Week, Citrix, of course, and here he is, Mr. Matheny. Michael, how are you today, pal? Okay?
Doing great, Mad Dog. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you with us. You've had 8 weeks here to sort of summarize 2020 in a weird year. 26-34, competitive. Middle of the order, obviously, is sort of a strange year to sort of kind of evaluate them. Have a lot of young arms. Give me your thoughts on the Royals here this past season. Go ahead.
Well, I'm proud of our guys, the way they competed all season long, and proud of how they really adapted and took on all the challenges. Like you said, it really wasn't what anybody expected heading in. And I didn't know how our guys were going to handle some of the challenges and some of the protocols that came, but I thought these guys did a fantastic job of representing the game of baseball. And then it comes down to us individually taking a step forward of trying to talk everybody consistently about the desire to win and having enough faith in each other and ourselves and what we do and how we can go about our business to be the kind of team that we're wanting to be. And we took a step forward last year. We didn't have the record that we wanted, but we saw some huge steps forward, one individually, almost man per man with our guys, especially with our young players and their development. And we saw steps forward in how our guys were thinking about themselves and each other collectively.
Yeah, listen, you got a lot of young arms in a pipeline. You've been busy here in the offseason. Santana signs. You had a big year out of Perez. The middle of the order is going to bounce back. Solar, obviously, you just played 40-something games. Dozier would be better. Whitfield's Whitfield. I mean, the Royals got something going right now. You got a good GM. You got something going as we head into the next year there, Michael. Give me some thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, I'm just impressed and proud of our organization for jumping in and making a big move. And you look at an ownership that just took over this club a year ago, and then this happened, and that there's a bottom line that's affected there. But still, to be aggressive, to be able to go out and get a Carlos Santana to join in with what we think is already a very good core. You mentioned some names with what Salvi was able to do, and Hunter Dozier and Whit Merrifield, and then to be able to bring back a Soler, and then we have a young group of guys that we were able to watch all October. Watch them pitch there at Kauffman Stadium, watch them compete. We've got some great arms that are on the way, a core that's very good. And to bring in a guy like a Mike Minor to help us out and solidify with a little bit more of our veteran presence and consistency in the starting rotation, Greg Holland to come and help us in the back end. And then to bring in a guy like a Michael Taylor that can help us defensively. And we believe there's a huge upside. So a lot of different things on the move and reason for the Kansas City Royal fans to be very excited about this team.
There you go, and a division that will be tricky too. So you're going to have to beacon with obviously the White Sox, Twins, and even to a degree the Indians. Give me the thoughts on rules changes, Mike. I love everybody that I talk to. I have a lot of managers on here. Love the 10th inning. Get your thoughts on that with the man at second, and give me some thoughts on the 3-batter minimum. I didn't have a problem with it. Some do, some don't. And how about if they go, get more games in? The 7-inning doubleheader. Give me some thoughts on those three as the manager for Kansas City. Fire away.
Yeah, first and foremost, I believe in the extra inning rule. The thing that is always in the forefront of our mind is health. And if we can protect some of our pitchers from going too far in a game past a pitch count that we feel comfortable with, or even having to bring in a position players by putting the extra inning rule in play, I think that's smart. I also just the excitement you have in the dugout. As soon as you got to that 10th inning, you knew that it was something different. And I believe feedback from the fans, they like that excitement. They want that motion, that energy, and their strategy that goes along with it as well. I would say the 3-batter minimum is something that we tried to address and not belabor too much, and realize that we're just going to have to construct our roster in a way to where we have guys that can get batters out from both sides of the plate. I think that's probably one that most managers have the biggest hang up, and some of that might be for the fact that you have specified pitchers that you would like to have those individual matchups. And I get that, but our roster is constructed in a way that our righties did a great job against the lefties as well. So that didn't make it as much of an issue. I would say the 7-inning rule, as far as the doubleheaders, once again, the lifeblood of what we do is our fan base, and they're continuing to give us feedback and give us some information. And part of it is that, we got to keep this thing moving. And I believe that they like being a part of those quicker 7-inning games. It's a whole different model to manage. We didn't have as many as I thought we were going to have, but all in all, I wouldn't be opposed to that and for the same reason as the first, talking about the extra inning rules, protecting our arms. And when you start stacking up some of those doubleheaders, you're always at risk of overexposing some of our arms, which we need to protect at all costs.
And boy, great job, great answer. Last thing, Mike, let's assume it's going to be a weird year now with spring training. Who knows when it's going to start and how we're going to handle that. Maybe it's truncated again. Hard to plan. Last year you didn't have to worry. You didn't think in January, it was a regular year. This year you figure there's going to be a couple of little changes to the way the spring training, maybe it's a little later. Who knows? Less games. Give me some thoughts about how you think spring training might come into play here once we get to mid-February, early March. Let me hear.
Yeah, Chris, we're really clear with our guys, just like we did during that shutdown period in between spring training and summer camp. I'm always the perpetual optimist. But right now we have dates that we're going to show up and they look like they're normal. And I think it's very important for our guys, and they're going to continue to hear it all winter long for the rest of this offseason, that be prepared to start on time, be prepared for this to look like normal, be prepared that we're going to play 162, but also be prepared for us to participate in playing in October. And I think it's just the psychology of getting yourself ready. We can always back off. It's much easier to have these guys over prepared, just like getting all of our starters prepared, or some of the guys that are in between it being a reliever or a starter. Be prepared as a starter. We can back you off later. Right now, our guys need to be ready for that early February start date. That's going to start our season on time, and we're going to play a full season. And then we can back off and we can adjust when the league decides that that's the time to do that.
Are you the same manager, Mike, from the St. Louis days? Have you adjusted? What's the big thing for Mike Matheny here? What's the change in the last, say, 4 or 5 years? And, of course, this Royals job.
Yeah, if I'm the same, shame on me. We should be getting better every single day, and that's one thing that we're talking about constantly. Is our requirement is for growth, and I try to learn something new every day. That's been told to me a number of times, and I think it's a great way to go, not just about baseball, but about life, and figure out ways to improve in relationships, be able to improve in all the areas that I really wanted to try and improve on, that I know were weaknesses. Areas one in leadership, yes. Two would be in understanding the analytics, understanding where the game's heading next. And then always trying to figure out ways to communicate better, whether that's with people like yourself, with our local media, and even with the players. So I think there's just, as the game's evolving, I think people are always changing. And then you're bringing in new people all the time, which keeps this fresh and interesting and exciting and challenging all at the same time. So I hope I'm better, Chris. If not, I should be let go, because I believe that's the one thing that we can control is how hard we work to improve, and then constantly keep that wheel moving.